Forrest with Red Wing Diehard. Oh. Hey everybody, good evening. This is Forrest with Red Wing Diehards, coming at you after Game 82. Obviously, the Red Wings won 5-4 in overtime and shootout, which is exhilarating. What's a wild last three games. Last two, just wild end of the season. Couple things I'm going to touch on today. Couple player highlights. Couple players I want to see back for next season. Couple players that I don't want to see in a winged wheel ever again. And also, talking a little bit about ultimately where the Wings went wrong, which a lot of people know that there's quite a few games before these last couple where they needed to take care of business and ultimately didn't, which is the reason why they are on the outside of the playoffs looking in after the Washington Capitals 2-1 win against Philly. Unfortunately, for those that weren't able to be watching at the same time as the Wings, Philly had to beat Washington in regulation in order to jump them. And because they needed to do that, they had to pull their goalie. And Washington, believe it or not, won 2-1 on an empty net goal. So that is just that's just such a wild thing to me. I mean, game 82, you're not expecting another game to be decided in such important fashion with an empty net goal. So just really kind of nuts to me thinking about that. Like, wow, you play 82 games. It's a 5-6 month season, and it comes down to one goal at the absolute end. So as I mentioned, Wings are not going to the playoffs. I want to talk a little bit about Monday night at home against the Canadiens, the first one. Both games obviously wound up the same way, 5-4. The first game really just coming out and getting outplayed for the first two periods. I at points wanted to turn it off so bad. And the thing that kept me there was the Tigers' offense looking even worse. Enough about that. Going down like they did 4-2, fighting back in the third period. The puss tosses in the third period. I don't know if everybody noticed, but right after that, the Wings came out flying. It made me wonder where that team was for the last 2-3 months. Because gosh, that last 10 minutes of the home game the Wings played against the Canadiens, I mean, that might have been the best I've seen the Wings team play all season long. So really, really, really walked away encouraged with that. Everybody on Twitter is talking about Lucas Raymond. Obviously, he's definitely going to get paid. I think you have to throw 8 years at him. He's definitely getting at least $8 million. I would say he could probably ask for right at Tim Stutzel money, which is, I think, 8.8 times 8.25, 8.35, one of those. But yes, the man, I think JT Comfort had in an interview last night, and they were showing it on the Red Wings pregame, and he was saying that Lucas Raymond has grown up 10 years in the last 7 days. And that's really, really meaningful in my eyes, coming from, a veteran leader on the team, and, somebody that is, a voice in the locker room that a lot of people look up to. So a really cool quote there. And I really don't know what else can be said about Lucas Raymond. That man single-handedly carried this offense for the last 2 months. I'm just going to pause and just clap for him for a second. I mean, my goodness, where would we be without Lucas Raymond this season? If you were to take one single positive out of this entire Red Wings season, it would be that Lucas Raymond is on a trajectory to be a superstar. I saw a comparison. I also had a friend, Mihao, send me something. Lucas Raymond is on the same trajectory as Nikita Kucherov through 3 seasons, excuse me. Obviously, year 4 was when Kucherov really took the bump. I think he was up to like 80, 90 points. But my goodness, we are seeing the birth of a star in Detroit. And Raymond and Larkin, their synergy is just unmatched. It is absolute beauty watching those two. Um, so obviously, Wings win in OT last night, Monday night, and set up another must-win game here tonight against the Canadiens in Montreal this time. And the same thing happens. I don't think I've ever seen a team in a playoff hunt just get absolutely outplayed at times by bottom 5 teams. I mean, they lost 2 in a row to Arizona. I'm pretty sure they put up 1 goal in 2 games. They also lost to the Sharks earlier in the season. I mean, granted, the Canadiens are a pesky team; they're fast, but they're playing guys with their first and second game. Obviously, talented players, but why are we in this position? I mentioned the 2 Coyotes losses. I want to say like February, early March timeframe. Gosh, those were so catastrophic. I mean, in my opinion, if you were to flash back, I thought that Derek Lalonde shouldn't have even been on the plane after those 2 losses. How do you come out and play so lackadaisical in games? I mean, it's been must win for basically 2 months at this point. What are we doing? When the team is coming out slow at the start of the game, that's on the coach. That's entirely on the coach. And it just blows my mind that this Red Wings team in the position they are, and Matt and I, we both said, I think I was 88 points, missed the playoffs. He was 89 points and missed the playoffs. We both had them right around where they're at. I'm pretty sure they're going to finish with 90 points. But just the way this team backed out of a playoff spot, it really kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I don't want to sit on that too long because this is a hashtag good vibes live from RWDH tonight. So we're going to keep the vibes positive. But yeah, this team has just fumbled the bag. I'm pretty sure they've had, well, outside of this past week, they've had 1 win a week for the past 2 months, and that's the reason why they're on the outside looking in. To get beaten out by a Capitals team with such a large negative goal differential, and there's just not much to be said about it. The good news is this team's on an upward trajectory. I'm sure that a lot of fans out there would have taken playing meaningful games in April. And yeah, it's April 16th tonight, the last game of the season, and the Red Wings had a chance to be in. And what more as a fan can you ask for? The last 7-8 years have been really, really tough times. So being able to watch meaningful hockey in April, I know myself, like, it was enjoyable to watch tonight. The Raymond goal last night. Oh my gosh, I'm sure my neighbors could have heard me screaming. I saw a video on Barstool Detroit of a delivery guy getting stunned from somebody yelling at the Red Wings win. I mean, this is just such a hockey town and a hockey state. I absolutely love it. And this team is on a positive trajectory. There's somebody I want to talk about specifically tonight. David Perron. I know that he had the goal that sent it into OT, tied the game up. A wild play off the faceoff. I mean, that's 2 plays off a faceoff in the last 2 games that they've ran successfully, and I don't think they've done that at all over the previous 80, which is just absolutely crazy. So it was good to see them kind of score in unconventional ways because we know this team has really, really struggled to put the puck in the net. David Perron, loved the goal, but my goodness, he looks like he's skating in quicksand. I know that he's a free agent and he is someone that is on my absolutely you cannot sign him. I know that he provided some good veteran leadership last year, this year especially, somebody that definitely has helped the locker room and molded. But at this point, this is the kind of guy that we need to be moving on from. Same with Daniel Sprong. Somebody that can be an offensive dynamo. I mean, I know he had that 3rd goal tonight from a weird angle, but when he's not scoring, in my opinion, he's not carrying much value. And this team, they need difference makers. And if you're not a difference maker as a veteran, then trust me, there are multiple people in Grand Rapids waiting. You have Marco Casper, you have Carter Mazer, you have Amadeus Lombardi, you have on defense, Johansson, there's quite a few options. I mean, even Kosa's starting to heat up. I'm pretty sure I saw he was like 16-2 over his last 18 games. The boys are buzzing down in Grand Rapids, and that just tells you that the stove is going to continue to be hot. If we can move a couple of these wingers out of there, open up a spot or two. I know I mentioned Casper and Mazer. What about Danielson? Danielson looked really good playing with pros in the preseason. They got to do something different. I want to go to defense as well. You got to do whatever you can to buy out, trade Jeff Petrie. Absolutely cannot come back on the team next year. I think you got to get rid of Justin Hull too. Gotta figure out a way to bring in a new, at least two new defensive guys, whether it be calling guys up. Johansson, I know that he's out of waiver eligibility next year. So if he doesn't make the team, he's not going to be able to have a free pass down to Grand Rapids. And I think the chances are that somebody would take him. Find a way to get some young blood on the blue line. I know I mentioned Kosa a minute ago, like 16-2. I don't remember what the goals against average was, but he's just been heating up. Now, this is not me calling for him to start day one next year, but I think at some point the man deserves a taste. He is starting to heat up down there, and as we've seen on all of his other stops, it's just a matter of time until he takes the next step. Let's see here. Raymond led the team in points. I think I saw that he had 71 total points this season, which led the team. Obviously, Dylan Larkin, I'm pretty sure, was at like a point a game. Same with Patrick Kane. So if they had played a full season, they probably would have had more. But wow, what a coming out party for Lucas Raymond. Other person I want to talk about is Patrick Kane. I'm pretty sure he was only around for 50 games. The end of the game tonight, scoring in the shootout. What a fitting end of the season. And truly what a treat it has been watching Patrick Kane in the winged wheel. I know we're all going to think of him as a Blackhawk, but wow, it has been such a treat watching him. I mean, the overtimes, shootouts, just the silkiest of mitts. It's never going to get old watching him. I really hope that he's someone that they prioritize. I say get rid of Sprong, get rid of Perron, keep Patrick Kane, even if you got to pay him $5-6 million for a year. I know he's not very good defensively, but you're not paying Patrick Kane for what he does defensively. You're paying for what he does offensively. And this is a team that's desperate for offensive help. So I hope that they can find, I know they have plenty of cap space, so there shouldn't be a problem finding finding space for him. It's just a matter of hopefully he's looking to come back. I know he had a quote saying that he's interested in coming back, and I really hope that he meant what he said in that quote and that he really does give a look coming back next season, because with a couple changes on the fly here, I think that this team can maybe not take a massive step forward, but if you subtract a couple pieces from this team, I really believe that it's an addition in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, I see some comments here. Like, yeah, the Philly game, just super disappointing. Like, I'm pretty sure Philly had a goal that was called back. Torts, I'm pretty sure he challenged it unsuccessfully, which is unfortunate. But Philly had a chance there, and ultimately, when you lose as many important games as you did down the stretch, and you don't control your own destiny because of what you've done down the stretch, it is what it is. Like, you lost the opportunity to control your own destiny, and ultimately they got boxed out because of it. Montreal, my goodness, I want to talk about them for one quick second. They have a young and up and coming team, and they are quick. Our Red Wings, they have to get faster. They have to get a little bit tougher. I don't know how they're going to do that, whether that be call ups. I know that Mazer's a little bit of a bruiser down there in Grand Rapids, but this team, they've just been pushed around all season. You can tell that when they're playing against a team that really comes out and is physical with them and really dominates play, they kind of wilter and they go for long stretches where they're not doing much and they're really on their heels and they're just kind of holding on for dear life. And that's the way I felt so many different times tonight. Um, just opportunity after opportunity. Like when Perron went into the goalie tonight and he laid there for like 20 seconds. I kept waiting for him to come back into the play. This is one of our veteran leaders giving a 5-on-4. Now, granted, the refs 100% should have blown the whistle. Inexcusable at how the game was called tonight. They really didn't call anything outside of being obvious. I mean, what is this? An NHL playoff game? They called this like it was a NHL playoff game and a Stanley Cup playoff game. I just cannot believe the way this game was called. It was really interesting to me, but obviously Wings win last two nights, finish at 90 points. Overall, right where Matt and I had them, 88, 89, finished with 90 points on the outside looking in. 90 points is the magic number this year, but with all the overtime wins the Wings had, including the shootout tonight, that is why they got boxed out of the playoffs. I see a comment out there from Billions. Looks like a bill on Capitol Hill out there. Shout out, Dad. Defense is fixable with better coaching to not give up blue line without contact into the boards. I know that you can see that out there. Every single time the defense just backs up and backs up and backs up, and they back into their own goalie, and eventually there's not enough room. Like I can't remember. I think it was the last Canadiens goal where Perron is playing defense and he's in great position, but he stops moving his feet. He stops taking away time. He stops taking away space. And the next thing you know, I think it was Hudson. I'm probably butchering that. Regardless, he's got the time and the space, and he gets the shot off, and the puck goes in the net because David Perron is not playing good defense. Now, that is team defense and individual defense from him, but wow. The defensive structure on this team, they got to take away more time and space, continuing to do the same thing time and time again. Like I know with 30 seconds left in the game, they had the goalie pulled after the center ice face off, and they dump the puck in. Sometimes it just doesn't seem like they have a coach out there guiding them in the right direction. And I know that some people want Lalonde fired. Some people want him to stay. I think that in order for this team to take the next step, you have to get a veteran coach in the room. Derek Lalonde has been a good stopgap for this team, but he's not the right guy to take the next step. I know Gerard Gallant is out there, a former Steve Yzerman line mate in the Detroit City, which would be an interesting dynamic. Also, Sergei Fedorov did not have his contract renewed over with SK Petersburg. So interesting times. I'm hoping that they make a move behind the bench. I think that would be the best thing for this team, along with a youth infusion. You saw the difference that Edvinsson made while he was out there. I mean, he definitely was probably one of our top two defensemen over the last month that he's been up. I was telling my girlfriend, Edvinson's my second favorite player already. The way he takes away time, the way he takes away space. He's the one defenseman not afraid to skate with the puck outside of Gostisbehere. Um, it, there has to be addition by subtraction this season, and whether that be behind the bench, a couple of veterans, got to look at different options. Me, how I see you out there: fire Lalonde, dump Perron, dump Petrie, dump Fabry. Yeah, we are totally in agreement on that. Fabry's another. I think Fabry signed for another year or two, so obviously we'd probably have to trade him away, retain some salary, or buy him out in the summer. So I'm pretty sure he's like $4 million. I would keep him. Unfortunately, yeah, he's like a third, fourth line guy, but we have plenty of cap space to do what we need to do. Re-signing Raymond, re-signing Sider, hopefully getting Patty Kane here in the winged wheel for another couple years. This team, if they can get a little bit of youth in the mix, we're seeing what happens with Raymond getting time as a young kid, playing better. So we're seeing that growth. Edvinsson, we're going to see that growth too. I'm just hoping that the Kaspers, Danielsons, Mazers, Johanssons, Kosas are all going to get some kind of a look next year to really see, can this team take the next step? Can they make the playoffs? It remains to be seen. All right, gang. I appreciate you hanging out with me this evening. It's been a fun ride. I mean, 16-4-1 at one point in the stretch during the season. Starting off like a bat out of hell in the first part to start the season. Being in a top playoff spot, really putting the league on notice. Something this team hasn't done for a while. The buzz is back, ladies and gentlemen. And it's just a matter of time until this team takes the next step. A quality veteran coach would help. Better defensive system, in my opinion, and a couple additions by subtraction up front and in the back is what is needed. So everybody have a great rest of your evening. Thank you for hanging out tonight, and we'll definitely be around to continue recapping the season in addition to what the Wings are going to do next in regards to team management along with the draft. So this has been Forrest with RWDH. Thanks, gang.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Hockey Town Hangout on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.